what is your thought on who would, or how you would coordinate with the tribes under this proposed bill? In other words, I guess the relationships that are necessary. What would you see? How would you ask us to call out your responsibility vis-a-vis a tribe when a tribe is given this management opportunity?
So thank you for the question. So anytime we have the opportunity to have the tribal voice at the table is a beneficial one. Some of the complications that I named in my opening statement around the bill, because we're having lands that transfer from the Forest Service to the BIA for the trust responsibility that's associated with it, that there are some concerns that we wanted to work with the committee on how to adjudicate those that language. But to your question around the tribal voice, like we welcome that at the table to help us enhance our work.
I'm sure you do, but the challenge is who's in charge. That's a challenge, isn't it, when it comes to who's managing these lands? If you're going to turn management over to the tribe, how would you want that memorialized? Would you want a contract? Would you want an agreement? Would you want a statute? What is it that you need in order to understand where you stand vis-a-vis the tribe in one of these arrangements?
Yeah, so it's my understanding that the transfer goes to the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and then the Bureau of Indian Affairs would then manage those lands in trust for the tribes. So as long as we had an opportunity to be able to work with the Bureau of Indian Affairs on what that transfer would look like and then how it would be managed, beyond that, I think that's where we'd find some opportunities for success.
Let's back up for a second. I had not read the bill that closely to understand that there would be a transfer. A transfer of what, title? Or transfer of management? It's still the federal government that owns it. So share with me how you see the BIA working with you, if at all, after this transfer.
So I don't know all the full details of the technicalities of what happens after it's transferred, but sharing my understanding of when it's transferred to BIA, they become the landowner, if you will, and tribes have a voice into how the management of those tribal assets would happen. It's my understanding the Forest Service, we wouldn't be completely out of the picture at that point, but BIA would then have the lead on management of the lands.
The challenge is, of course, isn't it, that these lands are owned by all of us. Mm-hmm. And so managing in them is another issue entirely. And I think all of us would agree that finding some way to do a better job of managing is a really, really, really good idea. And before I just gloss over that, do you agree that this is an opportunity to improve the land? That this bill provides us a foundation to perhaps get off of this where we are now, which seems to be locked down and not being able to manage the land appropriately? Does this bill move us in the right direction? Is probably the
the short answer is yes. And tribes have an amazing history and traditional ecological knowledge and expertise that they would bring to the table in land management.
But this is not a transfer of ownership as such. This is a transfer of management. That is, the land itself still remains the property of the people of the United States, and what we have is another group who has a historical interest in treating the land well, now, quote, managing it, not owning it. That's where I'm trying to go with this question. Okay. Do you see it as moving in the wrong direction when it comes to actual control and taking stuff off the land to the benefit of some group, the tribe, as opposed to the people of the United States, or do you see it as more of a management arrangement?
So the management opportunity is a beneficial one, whether it's the Forest Service managing it or the tribal expertise helping to management. At the end of the day, as long as the landscapes are healthy, resilient to fire and insect and disease risk, that's the win.
Well, I look forward to working on this further because I think it's a great opportunity for all of us. With that, I yield back.